Hello, collective. So this is a continuation from the reading that was posted yesterday. Even though that reading was recorded last week, I recorded all of the, and this crazy reading came up, and it's very confusing for like the first 5 to 7 minutes. And then I realized why is because I had a couple of high priestesses that were watching me that were really cloaking themselves at this time. And so I finally got around to posting that. I have to listen, like the universe, my guides tell me what to post when and at what time and everything like that. And so I actually mislabeled it. And so I was reading it, I was listening to it because I always listen back to them because I don't remember because I'm in flow. And then I realized, halfway through, I was like, I'm going to turn this off. And they were like, no, listen till the end. And at the end, I realized that I was in the presence, like the high priestess had finally revealed herself to me. And so now this is going, and so I watched that yesterday and made the thumbnail. And then I was guided to go ahead and address the high priestesses that are watching me. I know there's at least 3 to 4 of you. If you know, you know. I think there's also a couple of you that are watching me that don't know that you are, or have an inkling that you are, but you have no idea what it means. And I totally understand. And I just feel called to be talking to you, and anybody's welcome in this reading, but this is particularly for the high priestesses that are watching me currently right now, that are floating around in my energy field, but are very cloaked, running on sonar. I was called to pull this deck, the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed, and to show this card. So as everybody knows, with that 888 portal that we just went through, people don't know what a portal is. I don't feel like I might even make a separate channel just so that we can talk about these things without having to, no offense, but like explain to the noobs. Where they're like, why is she talking about timelines? But anybody who knows that what we just went through, the veil has been very thin. The manifestation veil is very thin. We understand that the karmic washer machine has been turned on. There's a lot of things that are going on to the collective. We've been going through it first so that we can pave the way for the rest of the collective. There's a lot of high priestesses that are under rocks right now, and that's what that reading was all about. And so we're going to dive deeper into this reading, but I was called to pull this particular deck because it's just soft. It's like this self-care love deck, but it's also this card, right? High Priestess. So if you don't know anything about like the High Priestess and the tarot deck, so the Empress is at she's number 3. She's actually placed above the Emperor, but the High Priestess is right underneath the Magician. Excuse me. So it's, once you go High Priestess status, it's the Empress and then Spirit, someone that's tapped in and tuned in and can have a higher perspective, someone that can kind of rise above the fray and see things from a higher perspective without getting their personal feelings or involvement, being able to make decisions for the greater good, not based on their personal bias or conditioning or, biases or confirmation, all of these things that we grow up, the old negative behavior patterning, like the things that recognizing when things come up in yourself and being able to self-correct while staying in flow, being able to recognize our own shortcomings and shortfallings, and not blaming and projecting that onto other people, trying to make them feel guilty for the things we're actually doing. I mean, there's all these things like where I'm just totally in flow with y'all right now. And I just want to thank you, first of all, for letting me around your energy, because I'm definitely not in it, but also for just, I'm very honored to have such high vibrational spiritual beings to be watching me. So it's quite an honor. I feel like there's this, oh gosh, I keep coming with the tears and the reverence. There's this tears and reverence here. This is where we're at. I think you finally have a reverence for yourself. I feel like I'm talking to like newly minted high priestesses where you realize like, yeah, no, I can. I think you're surprising yourself. I know. I'm just like, shouldn't I have mourned that a little bit more? But I'm also the person, I'm like, it took me like a month and a half to get over that. It took me like 3 weeks to get over that. Now I'm like, can we do it in 48 hours? I'm trying not to hit the mic here, right? Can I detach? How quickly can I just like go through the feels, feel the feels. I'm going to have to cry. I'm going to have to snot it out. My tummy's going to get sick. I'm going to have to suck my thumb for a little bit. I'll eat some mac and cheese. I'll go ahead and make sure I've got plenty of ramen, like salt, and I think I can do this in 48 hours. It's like planning for like to get the flu for a week. This is how succinct. Oh my gosh, this is so. Because the other card that fell out of this deck, I was like, if we're talking to high priestesses, I have to get Moonology out. Like, if you know, you know, right? I keep saying that. I'm also watching all these younger readings, and I just readers, and I love like picking up all the isms of the youngins. But this card came out, and I got this last week. And if you lived through last week, and you probably did if you're listening to this, that was a lot. And then it was like lay low, lay low, lay low. And then this is coming out again, like, you know, new moon eclipse. Like, this is brand new beginnings. But like when this card comes out, like this is like next 7 days. I don't even honestly feel it's next 7 days. When you're watching this, there is something going on this next week. I'm going to tell you, I am recording this on Friday, August something, and my readings are timeless. But if you come across this reading, I don't think it's going to be very popular. But if you come across it, then you'll know that in the like next 4 to 5 days, you're about to get some life-changing news. It's not necessarily for the good. It's not necessarily for the bad. It really depends on what side of karma you're on. But I'm going to say for sure the next 7 days, but I honestly feel like this is like 3 to 4 days out. I'm talking about like something's going to be toppled on its head, something that you've always counted on, whether it's a job, whether it's your health, whether it's a relationship, whether it's, you know, this is Venus retrograde, this is Saturn retrograde, we're in pre-shadow of Jupiter and Mercury. I mean, it is retrograde season. Here you see all of the, you know, we've been in hiding, all of the light workers and intuitives and psychics. We've been laying low because we know what this season is. We know what it brings. And the universe, when it tells us to rest and sleep, it's because we're about to go through the tower so that we can come out through the rubble and start grabbing people out of the rubble and trying to drag them through, like across the line, like fireman style. I'm starting to get like mud race vibes. Like, come on, just help each other over the river. Let's get through this, or else this is a whole nother cycle that you're putting yourself in. And depending on your astrology, it doesn't mean that it's just a year. It could be, you could be getting involved with that you might be involved with for the next 10 years. Right? Like, this is the type of astrology with nodes changing and everything like that. And with Venus, I mean, this is big time karmic. This is why this card is coming out. Big ass deal. Okay. So, and I feel, I feel like I'm just like channeling to the collective, like my high priest and high priests as well. Doesn't matter the plumbing. Both are all and. Like, I am a high priest when I'm up and doing things and making my candles, and then I'm a high priestess when I'm sitting here and I'm receiving messages. I just got my little CBD. Actually, it's like 0 THC. I don't know. It's legal. Yay. So I just feel like I want to, like, it's like fireside chat time. So to my people that are, yeah, straight channeling, it is just, there is magic to be found. I feel like this is that if you're newly minted, and I say, you know, going through your, you know, spiritual awakening in the past 18 months, you're probably here at this reading, if you're still listening to me, at this point where you're starting to realize that your thoughts really are things. And that your vibration really does bring in like the people that you want or don't want in your life, and what you're willing to tolerate, and how much your sensitivities have grown to what you're willing to tolerate and not. I feel like these are a group of people that have become very comfortable in setting their own boundaries and being able to say no, and then actually being able to walk away when people cross them. I don't feel like I've got, you know, you don't become a high priestess and just come in green. Like, you just are. Now it's just like a brat badge on your like sash. You're like, boom, okay. Because you're able, anytime you can rise above your ego, any person can do this. Like, this isn't just like, oh, we were born into it, like mediumship. Which I don't even know if that's completely accurate. I've only heard that and I haven't really dove into that, and we will on the podcast. But I just feel that no matter who I'm talking to, no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, this is a person that has learned, because the only way you can cloak yourself the way you have cloaked yourself, high priests and high priestesses, is to withdraw to be able you have learned you have found the pocket. You have found theta state. You have learned that you can just sit in the pocket and everything else will happen around you. And then you just start getting like messages or news or job offers or just people like coming into your inbox. Like you realize that you are magnetizing, like it's literally like manifestation in real time. And if you stay in the pocket and you don't let these other influences, these people that are grabbing at your energy, because what, they're getting swept downstream. Why? Because they ignored the signs. This is crabs in the bucket. This is people that were like, why, God, why didn't you give me, why didn't you save me from the flood? And he's like, I sent you the helicopter, and I sent you a rowboat, and I sent you a tugboat, and I sent you like a floating donkey, like all of these things, and you didn't take them, right? You didn't get the memo. So now you're back in the washing machine, and now you're going to have to do this all over again. And yes, it's too late. And you had somebody around you, because I feel like these are the people that have been like warning, like, it's time to go. Don't stay here, it's flooding or whatever. I feel like you have decided that you have had to make like a really difficult choice. This is okay. If you know, I'm a flight attendant by nature. I would think I was born one, but a former flight attendant. And I just, gets so old. Like, put your mask on first, but it's so true. Like, it's literally like we are the only people in that plane that knows where everything is. Like, we're more important than the pilots. Eventually the plane can fly itself and land itself, worst case scenario. Okay, but dealing with 350 freaking out passengers, like that's, people that are having coronaries and seizures and all this other stuff, pressurized cabins going down fat, like there's a lot of pressure, right? And there's a lot of things that go into where they call it Barbie boot camp for a reason. Okay. And so to be able to stay calm and be able to go through these drills where you're literally on a simulator that is bucking and bronking and smoking, right? Like, and having to do these real time, a lot of people don't make it. And so I feel like you have nerves of steel. And I feel like you've been that person while the plane's been going down saying, it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go. Taking, putting your mask on, going to sleep, going out in communicado for a week or two and coming back out and trying to, because you're seeing, if you pull out a pack of cards right now, anybody can see that the towers are coming down right now. The karma, the shift has begun. If you want to watch that, it had more to do with the relationship, but I feel like it's like this turning point in the collective where people are starting to, I feel like there's just this huge wave, because I keep getting these like this momentum energy and like waves coming in. Like, I just keep on, who says if you know, it's like all of the kids, but I've said it like 18 times. I'm annoying myself. But you have like these waves coming in, and I just keep like these waves crashing down on people's beaches, like boom in their health, boom in their relationships, boom in their work, boom in their money, boom in their family, like boom, like it's coming in. And it's because all of this momentum has to do with placements, right? Like, people were kind of in the lull and kind of in the middle, but if you have significant placements of what's going on in the astrological weather, and if you pay attention to those things, the people that say, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. And I'm like, well, sucks for you, because I have a leg up on you. I have an advantage over you, because keep not believing so that I can run more circles, faster circles around you, because you refuse to believe in something that's literally, oh, you don't believe God made planets? Like, you don't think God's bigger than the planets, that he actually created them and created them for a reason, just like everything in life, because you don't understand it, therefore it doesn't exist. Hello, I'm talking. I'm like, I want to call people out, but I don't want to alienate anybody. Only because I've been a flight attendant and I've been in a cockpit and I have seen the curvature of the earth at a very high altitude. It actually curves up there. Like, there's an actual cutoff point. That's all I'm going to say. I know. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I had to get my way into that cockpit, and not the way you guys think, because I knew you dirty, dirty birds out there. But yeah, so I'm okay. The mood is lightening. I can feel, it's heavy, right? It's heavy knowing what's coming up for the people around you. that, and here's the thing is, I think the reason why a lot of us have just realized that we had to like pull the ripcord and like eject out of the cockpit is because there's just a lot of people around us that are willing, it's very difficult, and you can't talk to them. You can't say like, how much of a hypocrite are you? You go to church and you volunteer, but you're willing to like put people's like sexual health and like risk of like cancer and diseases. You're willing to put like multiple people at risk in order for you to satisfy it, but you volunteer and you like you're a devout, such and such, and you don't do these things but this one vice, and it's like, and that makes you like better than me because why? Like it feels like pretty terrible to me that people are just so used to justifying what they're doing for their own, and it's like, how many, like literally what are the ramifications? I think people are going to start getting, this is where this karma is coming in. It's going to be very specific to what people have done to other people. And now that, I've got another title that's coming up. And I think it's coming up this week that just was channeled this afternoon. And it's like, the things that people were always able to rely on. Like when I lost my health for like a significant amount of time, I didn't know if I was going to walk again, like ever. I was on crutches for 9.5 months. Right. I went from that to like 2 years later, biking 100 miles in a week, like in Arizona heat, to work. Cause I was literally biking 12 miles back and forth, like round trip per shift. And I had to make so much money. I was working like 7 days. I did that like 14 days in a row and then like collapsed and had my first, going into anaphylactic shock, my first real a life-threatening situation because I was running myself ragged to try and get myself out of a situation that I'd gotten myself into. So I feel like, again, the fact that I would go into that, I just feel like, yeah, it's that fireside chat energy. It's just like, I feel like I just want to I want to be here and support my magicians and my high priestesses and all of these people that are really taking the brunt of the collectives, like that. It's like that drowning energy, like they're drowning and they're grasping at straws and they want to blame you because you have exited their life in the time where they feel like they needed it the most, and you're triggering people's abandonment wounds. And you realize like, I can do better for you, I can help you better from loving you from afar. It's still unconditional. This is why it's so unconditional. This is why people are so frustrated, because you didn't just go out, you didn't like burn the things down. You don't do that anymore. You're healed. You don't need to do that to prove a point to people, right? Your silence, your lack of energy is more of a consequence to anybody than anything you could have said out loud. And you've gotten to the point where you realize that just retracting your energy is enough, because people get high on your energy. People think that it's their own. People get, inspiration, and they're talking to their guides and all this other stuff, right? And they don't realize it's because they're in your aura. And so when you leave, they go back to where they were before they met you, and they realize it's not them and it's you. And now they've lost the person, right? Because they got wrapped up in themselves instead of realizing that you were just giving your energy out of like love for them. But you're not going to let anybody take. That's why I think also you're very comfortable. People are very bothered that you're unbothered. And I don't think people that don't understand a detachment can't really understand, because it's like, well, I didn't get taken advantage of, right? I got out before you were starting to, like you were getting there, you're showing me the signs, and I gave you a little more rope. And then it was like, oh yeah, like I can see the beginning signs of this. I feel like I got out like on an equal playing field. And when I don't feel taken advantage of, it's like, well, what did I learn from that? I learned so much from this person. I enjoyed my time with them. It was great, this, that, and the other, but it's like, that's amazing. Here for a good time, not a long time, moving it on. Like, you don't get like, oh my gosh, well, maybe they don't like me or they'll be with someone else. Of course they will, right? They will, because I'm no longer with them. They obviously wanted to be somewhere else if I'm no longer with them, unless that's the arrangement. And I feel like you're very open about that too. I feel like people just, you trigger the hell out of them and they go back to their old patterns, and then they're wondering, like they get mad at you for making them reap consequences for their own actions, and they're just not used to that. And so you trigger awakenings, and you trigger and then you just trigger the hell out of people, and then they have to go through like hating you, and you just learn how to transmute the energy. You're comfortable with being disliked. I feel I'm like that's the end of the channeling right there. Let's get one more let's get one card from each. Okay. And then we'll be done. Ooh, oh wow. Bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius. How sexy is that? That's what you do. Talking about that abundant love. This is, Aquarians, even though we may be, I'm Aqua Venus. So the detachment game is like bread. I came out like cutting my own cord. I was like, snip, snip, bitches, bye. There's this story about me. I've lost all of my belongings, like including baby pictures, and I've lost all of my family. Not lost them, but they are dead to me in a sense. And so I have nothing of but there's this one story of me that we like landed into the islands where my mother was born, and I like ran off the plane and like took off all my clothes, like running down the landing strip, and like jumped in some lady's like tub of water that was washing her clothes. Like that's me, water baby and naked all the time. I love it. So yeah, I just want to lighten this mood. This is you, right? You have the good story. Your energy is amazing, and people can't stand. And there's this purple here, right? The crown chakra. You're just like, you can feel everything, and people don't believe in it because they haven't experienced it. So it's like really hard to say like, hey, I'm clairsentience, and I can literally feel that you hate me while you're smiling in my face, like you're seething under like I know like 3 weeks before somebody like realizes like that I'm in a relationship, I can feel their negative thoughts towards me. Like literally physically, I'm like, oh, it's starting to turn now. I can, oh, okay. They're starting to feel some type of way. And then I kind of test it, and then I can feel it in my body. And then it's just like, okay, well, so it's easy for me. I was recently involved with someone that called it quiet quitting. And it's like, yeah, by the time you have really done something like stepped over the line, I quiet quit like a month ago because I saw the signs of it, right? But people don't want to believe that they're that obvious. But we're high priestesses. You don't become the empress without having to go through all of the levels of the queens: emotional manipulators, physical abusers, addictions, right? Like dark night of the soul, all those things in order just to get to the empress. And then to get to the higher priestess, you have to be able to pull your ego. You have to get over your ego and pull it out in order to do readings and be able to see the future and be prophetic and all of these things. You have to be able to conquer these things that like conquer for me. Like I've been promiscuous, right? So 3.7 years of celibacy was life changing, to know how much power I was giving away. Like for me, it's not like because I'm a prude. It's like, no, because whenever I'm with somebody like that, it drains my creative energy. It drains my ability to work for myself. I have to take a day just to where I could have taken that day and had 16 hours of like pumping designs out. Right. So when you give that energy, so when it builds up, the reason why I've got so many things built up for they may not seem like a lot, but I put a lot of work into them on several platforms for years. Even though it hasn't been consistent, it's got some traction now. When I do have the time and I do have the focus to be able to put it into, and I feel like this is a group that has just learned freaking patience. And really, the universe is finally like, I don't know, I think you probably had some really big Saturnian placements. Like with myself, like the past 5 years has just been pure hell with money and love and everything has been stripped away from me, and I've started from scratch, and people have no idea. Just because I thrift really well, and you think I have, you know what I mean, just because I'm not sitting on here sucking my thumb telling you about all my problems. No, I'm working to get myself out of them, and I'm not looking for anybody else to do them. And that's how you trigger people. And I think you realize that you're going to trigger people one way or another. You can try and appease them. You can, like, regardless. I think you're at this point where it's like, I'm going to stop making myself small to make these people comfortable. They're never going to be comfortable with me, so I might as well be successful. If they're gonna hate me, if you're gonna accuse me of witchcraft one way or another, you're gonna accuse me of all these horrible things that I've never done. And you're gonna like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I will monetize it. Maybe I'll turn it into something that works for me and my moral code of ethics. And you can sit there and point your finger and sit on your couch and get so involved with other people's lives that you are just letting your own pass by you. I think you're very unapproachable right now. I feel like you decided to love a lot of people from afar. And that is something that we can do. I still love you. I still have all of those feelings. I have all of those memories. My God, if I could be with you, I would be with you. But I can't be with you if that's how you're going to treat me. Period. Point blank. Go. There are plenty other people that are willing to let you treat them like that, but I'm not one of them. Grown ass woman. A fire. Yeah, you're out of there. Actually, there's a lot. No, actually, it's not even. I see this card has never made me feel like it's really fast, even though it's a fast moving. It's more of all of these ideas. All of this. This is freedom. This is what this is. This, you are percolating. You've got your big spirit panda bear that's like giving you a ride. You are letting things. Yeah, you've got pride. This is like my I've been talking to someone recently, and it keeps coming up, like the plates, the spinning plates on sticks, and it's like you're getting your plates up in the air, like one by one. Like this one's a little bigger than this one. This one, you're like blowing air into the, like, yeah, I'm seeing like helium. Oh my gosh, now I feel like you're like inside of this huge helium balloon, and everything's just kind of rising, and you're just like, look how peaceful, look how beautiful, look how lush and just clear. And like, I also feel it's just like, I rarely get any stuff like this, but like star beings, I feel like also, yeah, I also feel like all of a sudden you're on stage, and I'm getting like lights here, like these are like spotlights on you, right? Like there's a lot of people that have got their eyes on you. I think a lot more than you think, because everybody wants to know what's going on inside. I think they can see the glow, they can see things like popping off. I am so in your energy right now. You are so in flow and grace and love and theta and self and peace and warmth. And it's just, I feel like I was talking about this also with the person, the desensitize, I can't say it, desensitization, desensitory, the desense tank, where you just like all over your senses and you're like floating in like blackness or something. I don't know. That's where I feel like you're at. You're at like in the space. I feel like you're being, I was going to say cradled, and I heard coddled by your angels, your system, your ancestor system. I'm getting this vision of, like, I remember in, not Avalon, that's that movie, James Cameron, Avatar, and their like tails link up. And there's like this, like, yeah, I feel like there's this tail, like you are on the precipice. I feel like someone has just claimed their inheritance as a high priestess too. I think somebody has realized that what's been taken from them in the material world has now been gifted to them in the non-physical world, which means it will always last. It's not like some chunk of money. It's knowledge of your ancestry and recipes and all of this knowledge that's been like, yeah, I feel like you've completed like this link. I keep getting those tails going, and it's like all of your ancestors are like lined up to start giving you information. I feel like a lot of whispers are coming in. High priestesses, there's a lot of whispers coming in. You're going to be getting a lot of information. Spiritual Beast, you want to go check her out. She had a reading like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, it just really hit home, and I did it. And I've had this notebook out, and I've got my Notions app up, and I'm just waking up in the middle of the night, and I'm like channeling like 30 titles at a time. Like, it's just, I feel like right now the universe is like, we've got you. You are surrounded. They can't get to you, right? You are protected. Right now, you get all of the, I was going to say all of the income. I was going to say incoming, like insights, inspiration, get all of the income. Yeah, okay, this is a very, very auspicious time for you right now. Also, is this an 8? This is an 888 portal, right? This is the manifestation time. Like right now, if you've got income revenue streams in here in the next 30 days, income revenue streams, It's time to get them up for flight. Okay, get them up for flight. I'm getting like now Harry Potter vibes where the Quidditch, whatever, it goes up and it goes like, and then it just like stays there and it hovers. That's what it's like. Get all of these things like up in the air, because Venus retrograde, you don't want to push anything down the hill during Venus retrograde. And then we're going to have Mercury, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a, it's like they said, work with Venus, Mercury. So like, because these are things that you've already started. These are things, this is like, get them all up and running. So when Venus, like when like the god, the planet of love, like starts wanting to work with people again, like that's going to override Mercury, depending on your mercurial placements and where they are. But again, if these are things, as long as you're not starting something, this is the time. I feel like the universe is like, get them all lined up so that you can just start shoving them down the hill as soon as the, do you see my energy? Yeah, get everything ready, get all of your spinning plates up so that when timing comes, you can work with the timing and you can start shoving, and it's going to go fast. Eight of Wands, like this static electricity. It's like, I feel like just like, it's going to be like this. Yeah, I feel like something's popping off. I keep getting this energy. Pile 3, the last pick a card I did, pile 3 at the end of it, like the last 10 minutes, it was about something that's really going to like take off, like just like that. And I see like this explosion, kind of like when I throw like my money spice in my candles and they go like, it's like that, but it's more like poof. And it's just like something's going to like pop off, like you're going to go viral or something. Especially with communication, something's going to happen fast. Something's going to catch on fire fast. Something's going to catch on fire. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, get all of your ducks in a row. If you got like ideas to batch content or whatever, I feel like something's going to happen, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like flooded with something, like an influx of orders or something, and you want to make sure that you have, it's like no project left behind, or like no man left behind. It's time for you to get the infrastructure finished on these. Like, I don't think they have to be perfect. Sloppy execution is so much better than perfect planning. Okay, so just get them to a point where if you needed to leave it for a week, you would have the infrastructure in it to be able to, like, if I'm out of town, I already had like a client portal set up, like Honeybook or something like that. There's some practical solutions that you can do that I think are very easy, that can make this this transition into, like, that's going to happen very quickly. Like, yeah. Okay. All right. High Priestesses, thank you so much for letting me enter. Where are we? 32 minutes of channeling. I'll take that. This is so much more. I like this energy. The pick-up piles are a lot of fun, but they're a lot of energy. All right. I'm like, as I like, my energy starts like dissipating. All right. We'll see you on the flip side. Thank you for letting me in again. And I hope to come out with more High Priestess and High Priest specific content. All right. Bye.